Hello again, Sophie Blackwell here, illustrator of the Ivy and Bean series, and Annie Barrows, the author, and I are reading you the entire book of Ivy and Bean, and hopefully you have already heard chapters 1 through 3, and so now today I'm going to read you chapter 4, Bean Meets Ivy. Bean peeked out between the leaves. Nancy hadn't seen the $20 bill. She was standing on it. Thought Bean. Her plan was bust, but if she kept on being a ghost, maybe she could scare Nancy a little. "I'm going to wrap my fingers around your neck too," she howled in her spooky voice, "and I'm going to spit in your ear." "No, you're not," said Nancy. She didn't sound scared. She reached into the bush and yanked Bean out. "Stop yelling!" That's when she saw the $20 bill. "Hey," she said, "where did you get that money? You don't have $20. Then she saw the string. "I see what you're doing, burp face. I bet this is my money too." Then she picked up the bill and looked at it. "You stole my money. I'm telling Mum." She began to pull Bean toward the front door. Uh-oh, thought Bean. None of her ideas were working out today. Now she had two choices. She could go inside with Nancy and face Mum, or she could run. So Bean fell over on the ground and started to wail, "My ankle! Oh, ow! 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 My ankle's killing me! It's sprained!" She held her ankle. Nancy frowned. "You didn't sprain your ankle, you faker," she said, but she bent down to take a look. Was all Bean needed. She stood up and ran. She ran out of her yard and around Pancake Court until she found herself in front of Ivy's house. "Ooh, you're in trouble now, Bernice Blue," yelled Nancy. "I'm going to tell Mum." Bernice was Bean's real name. People used it only when they were yelling at her. Bean couldn't help it. She just had to stick her tongue out and say, "Pfft." Then she just had to turn around and wiggle her behind at Nancy. "That's it!" Nancy yelled. "I'm getting Mum!" She stormed into the house. For a minute, Bean felt happy. She loved making Nancy mad. But when Nancy was gone, Bean began to worry. Mum hated it when she did more than one bad thing at a time. Bean counted. Taking the money, lying about her ankle, leaving the yard without asking, and, I can't do four fingers, wiggling her behind at Nancy. 4 things. 5 if you counted pretending to be a ghost. Here are all the 5 things. Bean was going to be in big trouble. How big? No dessert for sure. No videos for a week maybe, but it could be even worse. Her mum might send her to her room for the rest of the day. Bean hated that. Hide. Bean looked up. She had forgotten all about Ivy. Ivy was still sitting on her porch. She had been watching the whole time. She knew that the ghost of Mr. Killip was really Bean inside the bush. Bean expected her to be mad, but she didn't look mad. She looked excited. "Hide," she said again. Thought Bean. Maybe boring Ivy was right. If her mum couldn't find her, she couldn't send her to her room. If she stayed out until dark, her parents would stop being mad and start being worried. Her mum might say, "Oh, my poor little Bean, my poor little baby." Then they'd be so happy to see her when she came limping home that they probably wouldn't punish her at all. They might even let her have seconds on dessert. That settled it. "Okay," she said to Ivy. "Where?" "Follow me." Ivy came down the stairs and slipped behind a bush growing against her house. Bean followed her and crouched down under the wide leaves. Here they are, the leaves. "No, get up. This is just the beginning," said Ivy. "I'm going to take you to a secret spot." "This isn't it?" asked Bean. The bush looked pretty good to her. "No, this is the passageway." Ivy pressed her back against the house and edged along. Bean edged along too, the walls scraping her back. They turned a corner and edged some more. Ivy's house was big. "Halt," said Ivy, being halted. "Now," said Ivy, "close your eyes and I'll take you to the secret spot." "What? How come I have to close my eyes?" "Because it's a secret," said Ivy. "Duh." Bean couldn't argue with that. Ivy looked like a wimp, but she didn't talk like one. Bean closed her eyes. She felt Ivy take her by the elbow, and together they went down some steps. A door opened, more steps. Cool, damp air blew in Bean's face. Then they went up some steps. Another door opened. Then they were outside again. Ivy was taking Bean through some tall grass. "Shh," said Ivy suddenly. Bean froze. "Crouch down," said Ivy. Bean crouched. There was a silence. "Okay, you can get up now." "What happened?" asked Bean. "Spies," said Ivy. Bean figured Ivy was probably making that up. "Now you can open your eyes," Ivy said. And that is the end of chapter 4. Head over to Annie Barrows Author on her Instagram page to hear her read chapter 5, or over to YouTube to Annie Barrows channel, and we'll see you soon. I will see you with chapter 6.